Evil comes in many forms on TV, and a good villain is essential for any gripping show. They do more than just provide someone for the heroes to fight, they often have the coolest lines too. Here are 12 villains which netizens love to hate. Let's dive into the scathing comments and jeer together. On Nirvana in Fire, one netizen said, "My favorite villain of all time is the evil Marquis Seiyu in Nirvana in Fire. Actually, Nirvana in Fire has a whole bunch of villains that feel like real people, not just caricatures as seen with the Emperor, Prince Yu and Empress Yen." A viewer praised Fan in Under the Power. No competition as he is the creepiest, most sadistic bad guy I've ever seen in C-drama, to the point that every time I see the actor in anything else, even when he's supposed to be a good guy, I'm constantly looking around nervously waiting for the world to burn. Most villains settle for your defeat or death. Fan won't be satisfied until his enemies are psychologically crushed and utterly humiliated. On Lu Zixing in One and Only, he just kept getting more and more horrible, but always in a very human way. I think I feel the most hurt at the things that he does at the end. There is no coming back from that one even in the next life. He is just very horrible through and through, and the amazing thing about it is that you understand why he did it despite how twisted and unhinged it is. He gets everything that he wants at the end, yet it is not enough for him that he had to go that extra mile to prove a point which ultimately destroys everything for literally everyone. On Shuiyang from the Untamed, he is one unhinged character in like the best way possible. The city arc is one of my all-time favorite segments in my whole C-drama watching history. That characteristic smirk coupled with the complex relationship with Xiao Xingchen, Song Lan, and that girl, forgot her name, made for one hell of a character. I genuinely teared up when he met his end, and the scene with the sweets, I cried buckets. He is one of the most memorable villainous characters. On Gao Qiqiang from the Knockout. I think this extremely well-written and acted character played a huge part in the drama's explosive popularity. Everyone loves a character who started from the bottom and worked his way to power, from fishmonger to crime boss who owned pretty much the whole city. He is such a realistic and multidimensional character who has done some terrible things, but you really can't help but root for him to make it to the top. On Longbow from The Longest Day in Chang'an. He became a terrorist who wanted to blow up half the city as well as the emperor because he and his military brothers were forsaken by them while they were doing their duty. On Xianglu from Lost You Forever. Major red flag, absolutely ruthless, and will turn on you in an instant if you insult or betray him. Petia? That being said, you can see how his traumatic past led to who he is in the present time, and he's more than just a one-note bad guy. He does care about certain people deeply, such as Xiao Yao, his men, etc., and is willing to do whatever it takes to help them. On Prince Fu/Merong Gaogong from Unchained Love. This dude was terrifying. Not just from the middle or ending, but when we first meet him. His small mannerisms, how he doesn't even know Buin Lu, his emotional blackmail, and manipulations from his first 5 minutes on screen. Sure enough, he has the creepiest and most terrifying character arc of any villain I've seen. I lost count of how many times I was too triggered and had to pause the series. Honestly, more credit to the actor. I hate that character so much. The fact that I despised and feared him so much means he has to be my #1 antagonist. On Imperial Consort Gao from Yanqi Palace. I found her character's story to be quite heartbreaking in the end, to be honest, and the actress pulled it off so well that I truly hated her until her death scene, which is when you realize that this is all done for her first love. But, props to Charmaine Xie, who really waited for all the pieces to fall before unleashing her inner psycho. I started off the show wondering why they would let a queen of HK cinema act as a concubine, then her villain era commenced. I loved it. On Wutong in Love and Redemption, you know you wrote a good villain when people hear his name and collectively say F that guy. Wutong is pretty one-dimensional, though he is not a super complicated villain. In Rookie Agent Rouge, Feng Man Na is a character of remarkable complexity. We witness her transformation from innocence to a vengeful villain, yet she grapples with her moral dilemmas along the way. Unlike typical villains, she doesn't simply embrace evil. Instead, we see her struggle with the consequences of her actions. Her descent into anger and despair is palpable as she confronts the repercussions of her choices. Ultimately, she finds redemption by laying down her grudge and dying in peace. On the Scorpion King in Word of Honor. He was as villainous as his father, but at the same time, you kept thinking, if only someone had raised this boy right. He is another beautiful and ruthless man whose twisted fealty and filial duty to his father made him simultaneously repulsive and compelling. Which C-drama villain had you forming at the mouth or hiding in your closet scared? Let me know in the comments.